regarding sloka number 47. 47. 47 and so here the context is because Arjuna refused to fight, and being a Kshatriya, that was his duty. So there may be some ill effects of this war, even though it could be a Dharma Yuddha. So he is explaining or convincing Arjuna to fight. But when you translate to, say, a normal person, suppose, hypothetically, suppose Arjuna was not born in Kshatriya, that was not his duty to fight. So that's the way I look at it. But for us, for people who are, say, became different profession, either if they are chose something, I don't know whether here it means that people should choose based on their vasanas. Is that what it is? Or otherwise, or is it because you are born in a Brahmin family, so you should be a priest? Or because people are different, or in a trader or Vaishya, so you should be a businessman. Is that what it means? Or is it, here it is, context is very clear. And from a Gita perspective, Krishna telling Arjuna is very clear. But extrapolating that to life outside, I don't know what how this works, because people do work not because, at least in my opinion, 90+% of the people, because they had somehow inbuilt or inborn skill set or vasana, but because of various circumstances, parents channel them to a certain profession or certain things.
Yeah, so that's the question. It's an important question for all of us at any time, right? So that Swabhavaja has been highlighted very importantly. And so it can be applied to our workplaces, can be applied to our families. And in the larger scheme of things, it can be applied to the Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra karma also. And Jati becomes important. Jati. Because Jati gives me the head start. And in a company, when I join, I never get a head start. I have to start from scratch. But in hereditary professions, India was a strong country because of the Jati karma. Jati. People say, this. I saw a textbook, where they say caste is the cause for the poverty of India. Literally, so I saw this tape in Houston only. I saw the text. Okay, and my retort to that is, caste is what made, caste means Varna, let's say. Varna is what made and kept India prosperous for thousands of years, until you guys came and plundered all the wealth. And instead, for hiding all the atrocities you committed, you blamed it on caste. And we bought it. We are the foolish people. I agree with you. We bought all that idea. So I'm saying that idea, Maheshji, I find it so profound, that head start it gives. It gives an advantage, right? Advantage from day one. It is an advantage for the person, because everybody has to learn. Wherever they go, they have to learn. But this guy has the ecosystem to help support family business, let's say. And so a Brahmana child is not helpless, never helpless. The anxiety is never there for the child. The business guy whose parents are business, whose family are business people, has no anxiety about the business. Why? because he's grown up in the environment and the risk taking also becomes natural. Risk taking becomes natural. And for the people who go to war, who join the army, it's natural for them. Not coming back home is natural for them, even though they are also pained when their son or daughter do not come back home. Okay, so I think it's this Varnashrama Dharma is such a pillar of society. I think we have to get back the Varnashrama. We are saying it is not there. It's all this sannyasa and all is gone, going away also. That also we say. That means what? Hey, the person, the Brahmana, Buddhi, to chant the Veda Parayanam, you need some samskara is there. Otherwise, you can't chant. Not possible. Even the language, you can't pronounce the letters at all. You just see, you must have taught so many people. You must have been with so many people. You try and see. Some people, even after some time, they can't chant. Why? The samskara is not there. And to save this Veda, a lot of samskara is needed. You got to chant the entire Veda. On top of that, you have to memorize it. On top of that, you have to be normal. Means normal means that's your nature. Swabhavachan, and which means it has to be hereditary. I tell you, it has to means you have to take advantage of heredity. That's what I'm saying. That's why. That's why I often say this. I say this. I say that because the Brahmanas gave up their dharma, India went down. I blame it on myself, my people, my people. They gave up their dharma, then the Kshatriya gave up their dharma, then without it, no matter, Vaishya gave up their dharma, and whatever. Some all Varna Sankaraha, Krishna says. Varna Sankaraha. That's what happened. And I'm saying I said it, but actually Macaulay knew it. Macaulay knew it. If I confuse the Brahmins, then I can confuse the entire society. He knew it.
That's why he closed the education system.
He knew it. He knew it. And he just worked on Sanskrit and Vedas. That's it. His focus was just that. So anyway, this is well understood. And so, Mahesh, I think this is we can write a thesis on this. I think it's worthy of a debate, and it is definitely very beneficial for us. But the impact of this thought process on society, on family, all the way to society and the country and the world is something that the whole conference can be had on this topic. So anyway, I'll stop with that. Thank you for that question. Something we all have to think about. This is only an introduction, really speaking, right? We have to think over it, chew over it, and we may have some more ideas and questions. Araji, thank you, Mahesh.
Namaste, Jay Kumar Mahodaya. The Sahajam, Swabhavajam, Swadharmam, does this remain constant irrespective of time and place?
Good question. Good question. Yeah, no, it cannot be constant. Nothing can be constant, including swabhavas.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Including swabhava. Therefore, a child may express certain interest in an area initially, but suddenly things change, and then no longer any interest in that particular area. And then he says, I want to be a pilot. Pilot idea, parents don't know what a pilot is. They have not gone in a plane, nothing. They have nothing to do with planes. But this guy wants to be a pilot, and he does become a good pilot. How? Swabhava changes. We don't know. We are not trying to control our swabhava. No. Krishna is saying, identify your swabhava. If you have a swabhava, identify it and go with that. And sometimes, the job of the counselors in all colleges, all schools also, 11th grade, 12th grade, to help these children identify what they should do. what field they should apply. It's a very stressful period. Competition and all is there, and which school, which college, and all that. So there, the Swabhava, the counselor's job. It is the counselor's job to figure out who you are. I think you will succeed in this area. That statement has to come out from somebody, and this child can feel, oh, really? I think you think so? Yes, I think you will succeed in it. I can see you. I've seen you over the last 3 4 years. It is coming naturally to you. Correct? The child has to be told this because otherwise there's too much noise out there. Too much noise. Parents are telling one thing, mother and father are fighting about something else, and the society says you must be this, you must be that. The child will be confused. The counselor has to put this foot down and say, "This is the best thing for you. I'll talk to your parents." Then the child is free, and I'm happy that at least there is one person who validated me. Okay, this is what I feel. Otherwise, why do you need a counselor? Why do you need a counselor? Because we don't know. Nobody knows what they are good at. Even though they are good at something, it is they can't express it. That's why Hanuman didn't know that what he was good at. So yeah, short answer, long answer to your short question, which is it not a function of time and space? No, it is a function of time and space. Absolutely a function of time and space. Therefore, in a Brahmin family, you can have one person doing Brahmana karma, another person doing Kshatriya karma or Vaishya karma. Nothing wrong. You don't stop all that. He says that's your swabhava. Do it. Be a businessman. Nothing wrong. That's what you should do. Help society in the process. You've got Brahmana brothers and sisters, and you are a Vaishya. Good combination. Why not? Great combination. These guys can't earn money like you do. Okay, you earn money and support the family and the society. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Haraj. Prasad,
Thank you.
Yeah, Jaykumar, I mean, this is some topic which has come up. I just want to burst it out now. So, yeah, the one which you mentioned about how the books here mentioned about caste system, right? So it is the external people who are saying about that. I don't accept it because they do not know our culture. But I strongly feel at least what I'm going to say would be supported by those who at least politically active, if not all of us. Today, it is a curse. The caste system is a curse in many respects. I have seen like how educated people, I'm only giving one example, there are numerous, how they, in spite of their education, even coming here, of course in India also, that they even vote for a nasty person who is not politically useful to the society. They still vote for him, for example, or they support him. So that type of culture we have. The other point is that so Varna system, yes, it is very, very important. It has to be there. I mean, following Varna system is good, but the caste is really curse in many respects. You talked about Brahman also. I mean, I have to say this also. I think you also read the research paper long back, which says that Brahmana by birth is not the Brahmana, how the Trigunas come into picture and how he has defined all those Trigunas. The reason why I'm saying is that the people whom I am associated here, there are many Brahmanas. By birth, I'm talking about. And 90% of them eat meat. And in fact, I want to quote one of that. One of my colleague who was 10 years junior to me, younger to me, is close to me. So, but he was not married till 40. And he went to see a girl in India. And she asked, there are Orthodox family in Chennai. They said, in the conversation, it came up that he eats meat. And she said, no, my father so Orthodox, they will not accept anything. But she's okay in the future, how it can be managed and all that. But when he came back, I was discussing with him. He said, after some time, he said, what happened? I mean, did you, because already 40 plus, you didn't marry? No, I cannot leave, I mean, give away the eating meat. So I cannot go with that. That's the response from him. That is unfortunate. I mean, so, yeah, so this is what I want to mention, like how the caste system got totally vitiated in many respects. It affected society indirectly because you are electing, for example, you are electing a person who is not fit for the society, who is not helping. So, but then you are going campaigning and giving money for because based on your caste and other things. So that's what I want just to mention. Like,
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair enough. And so it's ignorance and insecurity. Ignorance of value system. What is good for the country? Person doesn't know. Somehow he just doesn't know that even a person from another quote unquote caste can lead the country to progress. And I must be committed to the progress. Okay, like that, a person has to appreciate. Person doesn't appreciate, then is he wants some benefit. Maybe if I elect a person from my caste, then this caste to which I belong will benefit. So I personal benefit I will get. Country, society, and all doesn't play at all here. So it's a lot of education that's required. And so I will say this: the caste is not the problem. Seeing society through caste lens and are abusing people based on caste is a problem. Or benefiting people based on caste is a problem. Caste is a great glue in society. It is a pillar of society because every caste has something unique to offer, whether it is a profession, whether it is a mindset, whether it is a history, so much is there. Or whether it is their own devatas or their own scriptures, it's all unique. And only through that unique scripture that caste people can understand this really dharma. They cannot understand Bhagavad Gita and all. You have to go through that particular text that has come down over generations. Therefore, and the country is strengthened by it. So by itself, caste is not a problem. It's a beautiful venue, whatever you want to call it. And then making mistakes like what you just said, making mistake. Dharma is to vote for the person who is going to lead the country, lead the society, lead the state. And you have made a mistake. Made a mistake. You have given up the bigger picture. You have sacrificed the forest for one tree. What is the use? It's a loss for everybody. So I would say, I would not blame it on caste per se. We have to be careful accepting that statement that caste is caste is just an identity. An identity. Two people are marrying. Two people are marrying in India. If they marry, the same caste helps a lot. They typically, why? Because the language is same, the food they eat is the same. He doesn't have to explain, or she doesn't have to explain all these words, all these foods and all. They already know how to make. So automatically the family is set up upfront. It is set up. If everything is different, then there are certain things they have to learn. All the things they learned have to be unlearned, and new things have to be learned. Doesn't mean it won't work. But caste gives a head start for everybody. So that feeling of oneness is so important to have. That's a big push, an unknown push for the newlywed couple. An unknown push is there. Push. They don't know. It is they're sitting on a wellspring of success right there. So I don't think caste per se is the problem. But what you're saying is this whole bring caste where you should not bring caste. That is a problem. Bringing caste where you should not bring it. Everywhere this caste, oh yeah, I agree. That is the problem. That is the problem. Somebody, you know what Gurumurthy said just in the talk I told you the other day? You know what he said? There was a caste in Tamil Nadu. Deva Kula Alvar or something like that. Deva Kula Vellar or something. Okay. Over time, what happened? They lost their name. But the heart is saying, we are all Devakula Vellars. And we lost the name. Nobody calls us that anymore. They're calling SC and ST and all these names. And what is this SC and ST? We can't connect with that at all. And Swamiji, our Dayanandaji came and he appealed to the constitution that there must be, this particular caste must be recognized. And Swamiji said in a talk, it seems, whether the government calls you Deva Kula Vellars or not, I am going to call you that, he said. Okay. And next day, lakhs of posters appeared on the streets. Swami Dayanandaji calls us Deva Kula Vellars. We are all Deva Kula Vellars. It's the identity, the past identity. Everything came back. The wellspring of tradition is back to them. And that's all they want. They're not antisocial elements. Nobody is an antisocial element. And so Gurumurthy Ji was quoting this example 3-4 days ago. He gave that example. And so it's a glue of society. It's a pillar of society. So we have to really think about it. Prasad, I think you also agree with me on this matter. And the abuse of the caste system is what we call caste system abusing, bringing it where you should not bring it.
90% is of that bringing in all those issues. That's the whole problem. Yeah.
Correct. So we should not blame, like it is like saying, Prasad, saying, the company fudges their account books. Big companies. Big companies are fudging their accounts using all these big names, Big Four and all this, EY and Accenture and all that. Fudging account. Suppose this. Then, companies are bringing a bad name to themselves. Therefore, don't start companies. Therefore, don't work in companies. Therefore, business is wrong. Business is bad. This idea of business is wrong. Why? Because it's all giving you all the wrong ideas. You end up fudging accounts. No, business is not wrong. Don't blame business for all the things people are doing. They're not doing the right things. That's the problem. They're not employing the idea of business properly. They're not following the rules. Business is a great concept. Business is one of the pillars of society. And so, don't blame business for it. You just blame the practices. People are not educated. Educate them, do something, create a movement, create a revolution where companies can institute penalties. Law enforcement code, there are strong karo. Let people go to jail. Let CEOs go to jail. Maybe that will change the system. So, like that, caste also, we need more and more people who think, who give value to caste. You respect people who have a certain caste, and then that gives them the security they want. And then you also tell them, this is not an area where caste applies.
Yeah.
Caste doesn't apply there. No, you're wrong. You will lose out if you apply caste there. What is the question of caste? Every caste person has led this country. So what do you mean to say your caste people and all? So some education is needed, Prasad.
Yeah, that
It's tough,
deviation.
but it is tough. But it is tough, Prasad. It's tough. It's a tough area. It's a very difficult area. It has to be. You have to have a lot of finesse. Leaders who come and who want to change the mindset, they have to come with a. They have to be really gifted, like the way Annamalai is doing things in Tamil Nadu. Mindset in Tamil Nadu is impossible to change. People, educated people are like that. Uneducated people are like that. What do you do? So this Dravida and all that they're talking, they're in caste. Here Dravida, another type of caste it is. Artificial caste.
Yeah.
So it is tough.
The only deviation is the original castes have been, because of sectarianism, if you see in any state, at least I can say about Andhra, the original caste has been divided into multiple because a particular group of people wanted a separate benefits. So then they would divide, and that's how more and more castes came into picture, at least recently. I mean, in the recent past, forgetting about what British has done and all that, but at least. So that sectarianism attitude is also causing a problem. Yeah.
Correct. I agree. Yes.
Mahodaya, talking about what Prasad was saying, there is many reasons why a Brahmana eats meats. I can go for hours. That's the reason. I mean, it is just because he is a Brahmana, he is completely forbidden from eating meat. There is many situations they are forced to eat. They have to survive, they have to be forced to eat meat.
Good. Okay. Good discussion. Yeah, Vaidya, you had a question, I think.
Yeah, Jaykumarji, very nice discussion with what points you made, excellent points you made, along with what was made by Prasadji also. What I wanted to say was, in the British times itself, in the early part of the British, encounters with India. For example, if you take Adam Smith's book, The Wealth of Nations. So I believe, so Adam Smith, for people who don't know, he was a Scottish economist. And I believe The Wealth of the Nations was published in the 1750s, somewhere thereabout. So this was before British rule, became very strong in India, but British had already encountered India, meaning British had come to India in Jahangir's time, I think 1615 or something like that. There was a British presence in India. In fact, even in Shivaji's time, British had a presence in Surat. When Shivaji invaded Surat, which was under Mughal rule, there was a British outpost there in Surat. And it is said that Shivaji spared that outpost, but he raided the Mughal, treasury there. Anyway, but so Adam Smith actually talks about the wealth of nations, and he makes the point that India is wealthy because of its unique social order. He doesn't, denigrate the caste system at that point, because he is looking at it more objectively. I suggest people, Wealth of Nations will be available in libraries. Just go take a look. He talks about how the the social order with professions, according to different, according to the jatis, the birth. He doesn't say jati, but according to the professions, that actually gave a unique competitive advantage to India. And then the other thing is, now all these requires a certain social order, right? So despite foreign invasions like Mughal rule and everything, this order somehow continued. I need to do more research to find out how it continued. Because you want during Muslim rule, there was a lot of turmoil in India, right? Despite that, somehow this order got maintained. And I think some of the Muslim rulers also saw that the people who are generating wealth are Hindus, and in many cases, especially in the Mughal times, like in Akbar's time, later period of Akbar's rule and Jahangir's rule and Shahjahan's rule, they left the Hindus alone so that they could continue to generate wealth for the empire. So maybe there were various factors that kept this social order of the different jatis. But when the British rule became more prevalent, a lot of these support structures for this jati order to happen was no longer there. the support structure was dismantled. So Brahmana, for example, who has to, survive on the goodwill of other society members, will not be able to now rely on that goodwill anymore because other people are also not, prosperous in society. So then you're sort of forced to take up, whatever profession you can get. So, you might become a clerk in the British government, for example, even a low-level clerk. So that's how, some of the breakdown started, I believe. So it's a question of, the individual circumstances and so on. And then the second point I wanted to make, completely different point. This was about Swabhavajam karma. And we can see that in our own epics and in our history also. So in our epics, for example, Vishwamitra Maharshi, we know he was born as a Kshatriya, but he had, his samskaras were there as a Brahmana, so he becomes a Brahma Rishi eventually, right? Even though he's born in a Kshatriya family. Or say, take opposite example, Parshurama. He's born in a Brahmana family, but he has the Swabhava of a Kshatriya, and he takes up arms and so on. And is, of course, he is recognized as an avatar of Mahavishnu. When Kshatriyas became adharmic, he came up and, he had to subdue the Kshatriyas. But nevertheless, he was born in a Brahmana family. So the Swabhava of the Kshatriya he adopted. Or in more recent history, the Peshwas who followed Shivaji, the Maratha Peshwas, they were not Maratha Kshatriyas. They were all Brahmanas, Bajirao and other Peshwas. So again, they took up arms, so their Swabhava was that of a Kshatriya.
Good examples.
Vidyaji, you are correct. Because of the stop of patronage and of the school system, Brahmanas lost the support system. And when Brahmins were forced to take up learning English and take up jobs, this created a jealousy in the Jamindars who lost their prominence. And thus was the DMK born.
Thank you, Ramaji. Good point. Swapna, go ahead.
You have a minute, Jayakumarji? Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
So verse 47 and 48 that we did. So Swadharma, that Prasannaji, when he asked, how do you know what your Swadharma is? You also gave an example during the satsang that there is no conflict in a family if a person takes up Brahmana duties or Vaishya duties or Kshatriya duties. So are you saying that Swadharma is something when you tap into your Swabhava and you do it with the right attitude of, helping others or finding joy in what you're doing, making, accepting that it's not going to be perfect, but keep at it and do your best with a good attitude. So is that Swadharma is more leaning towards Swabhava?
Correct. More leaning to Swabhava. So you go to an ashram, you go for a camp, and then they make an announcement. We have a need for a lot of sevaks because seva is constant in the ashram. Now that you are all there, we need help definitely. We could use your help. And they list 20 different tasks. Kitchen needs help. They're also cutting vegetables, washing vessels, all different subcaste. And then next, in the dining hall, in the main hall, lecture hall, electronics, and this, that, everything management. That is one thing. Then outside garden, here is that. Like this, they list all these things. Sign up your name and put what you're interested in. What you're interested in is your Swabhava. That's it. Your Swabhava. Somebody will choose garden because that's their interest. Somebody will do some where physical labor is involved. They will choose that. That's their nature. So that's Swabhava. That's what he's talking about here. And he said he categorized that as Brahmana Vaishya. Categorized. Just because some name we have to give so we understand what it is.
In the
In
ashram method,
modern living, it is very hard to find that. I think society was simpler, and now it is more complex with so many options that many of us we don't even know what we are inclined towards, right? Sometimes you just are pushed into something, or you just you just land up doing what you're doing. So I think it is more focusing on karma yoga and embracing it and doing it with the right attitude, because how do you know what is your calling? Or some of us are not that fortunate to know. It takes a lifetime, or sometimes it may not. You may never know. So the only saving grace is just convert whatever it is and be at peace and do your best, right?
Correct, correct. And that structure, that Varna structure is not there. It's not there today. Large extent, it's gone, and it's going away also. So that everybody is forced to figure out from scratch everything. It's tough. It's tough. It's not easy. By no means it's. That's why there's a lot of confusion and moving back and forth, and some tension is always there. Anxiety is always there, and so we have to help each other in the process a lot. We acknowledge it, and so that's why they have all these matrimonial sites now. Okay, so the matrimonial is very interesting. It is. There are only for Brahmins matrimonial site, only for Vaishya matrimonial site. So why? What is that? Oh, that is just this. We are coming back to the same thing. Kshatriya matrimonial site. What's the Kshatriya matrimonial site? Nothing. Don't be shocked and all that. Kshatriyas want to marry Kshatriyas. That's what it is. What is the big complication here? Like Indians want to marry Indians. So is it complicated? No, it's not complicated. That's it. So, so somehow or the other, it's there behind. You need that. Support system. Good. Okay, we'll pause with that. Say for. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Dhanyawada.
Dhanyawad ji.
Thank you.